What's going on, beautiful people? Daniel Magyar in the building with another lesson today. We're going to talk about 7 points of a behavior when you start feeling a really strong emotion. Emotion of betrayal, emotion of anger, etc. And learn how to control it and learn how to not react upon it. Because the real man is always in the center of his emotions. It doesn't mean he doesn't feel it, but he recognizes what the emotions do, and he waits until they pass, he puts them in a box, and then he comes back later to this problem to solve it. Because you can never solve a problem peacefully and logically when you're feeling a lot of emotions. So we're going to go through 7 points, what to watch out for when you, for example, get in an argument with somebody, or somebody betrays you, or somebody says something behind your back, you find it out. Here are the things what to watch out for. Number 1, impulsive decision making. People tend to act quickly without evaluating consequences. This is one of the biggest problems, okay? People want to act immediately. When you learn somebody betrayed you or something made you angry, you want to solve it immediately with the anger. Now, in 99.99%, it's always going to resolve in a worst possible outcome. You're never going to make a logical and strategic decision so you can win the situation that you're in when you feel a lot of impulse to react, okay? Because there a lot of emotions are occupying your mind and you can't make rational decisions. So always wait for that impulse to react. You wait for it to pass, okay? So the number 1 is impulsive decision making. Not good. When you're in a position that you made somebody mad, you can predict their future behavior. At first, they want to come back at you with anger. So whatever you're doing, and you know it's going to piss somebody off, or whatever betrayal you're doing behind their back, you know it's going to piss them off, they're going to try to come back at you in the moment, so you're going to be able to predict their future steps. That's another thing. Like, you got to understand, when you understand emotional behavior of people, you're always a step ahead. You understand the game, so you can never be manipulated. And if you need to, you can manipulate the situation so you can win whatever situation you're in. Number 2, narrowed attention. Focus shifts to the most emotionally charged detail while you're ignoring the context. So when you're feeling really high emotion, you always focus on that one little thing, and you completely ignore everything else that's going on within the argument, okay? You can see, like, for example, you're arguing with your wife, she narrows down her focus on that one thing you said, and everything else that matters as well to solve this problem, now nobody cares for. She doesn't pay attention to that. She's just mad at that one thing, okay? So people narrow their attention while missing the entire context of the problem. That's why it is very important to let the emotion go, cool off, calm down, and come back to the situation later, because you cannot see clearly. This is literally like walking around with the blindfolds and only seeing one way, where the situation might have 20, 30 possible outcomes. You're not going to be able to see it with high emotion. So always wait for the emotion to come down so you can regain the clarity. Step number 3, heightened reactivity. Small triggers cause disappropriately strong responses, so you overreact. Always. When you're angry, you always overreact. And this is exactly the situation where people regret it later, okay? Impulsive decision making, you'll do something stupid that you're not supposed to just because you're angry, you want to get back at the person. And then heightened reactivity, you overreact way too much just because you feel the emotion. And then you got to remember, you are structuring the best life in a calm state of mind, okay? And most of the time, you're calm. You don't always feel highly reactive, and you don't always feel highly intense emotions all day long. So based on the logical and rational decisions you're building your life, but you're going to have these circumstances where you're going to feel really high emotions, and that's when you overreact, which means that you way overdo something that you normally wouldn't do, and then you end up regretting it. Sometimes it's just a small thing like an argument with your wife, and you cuss her out, for example. Normally you wouldn't do it, but you did it under really high emotion. So that's why I wait for the emotions to come down so you don't do something stupid that you might regret later. Then black and white thinking. Situations are judged in extremes with little or no flexibility. Okay, so this point is very important. It kind of comes back to like narrow detention, where you always focus on the one thing. You can see things only black and white, and you're not open to any other discussion of any other possible outcomes of this situation or how to resolve it. It's either black or white. Like, you become pretty much stupid in this situation, okay? Your IQ literally drops because you only see two things. It's yes or no, cold or hot. It's black or white, okay? So this all happens where you're feeling really high emotion. High emotions block the logic and rationality, where in logical world, you would look at the situation from a 3D perspective and analyze all the possible outcomes of how to resolve this stressful situation. With the high emotion, you don't have this ability. That's why you always got to watch it, because black and white thinking can get you in trouble. You might make stupid impulsive decision based on only seeing two ways. Like, there's no other way out of it. And once when the situation calms down, 3-4 days later, you're calmer. Now you're gonna regain the clarity and you're gonna start seeing all the other possible things that you might have done, but it might be too late. Who knows? Depends on the situation, right? So you always gotta be aware of the black and white thinking when you're feeling high emotions. And then projection or mirroring the behavior. Individuals may attribute their own fears or insecurities to others. Okay, here, you can get people to admit to something they didn't even want to tell you, or they can admit to you their biggest secrets. For example, you're arguing with your husband or wife, and under high emotions, they're going to start yelling at you that I am still convinced you cheated on me 2 years ago. Well, she might be easily mirroring her behavior. Or you might be mirroring your behavior. You cheated on her 2 years ago. Now you admitted to it. Because under high emotions, people tend to mirror what they've done. Okay? Or you're still mad at me. That means she's still mad at you. She's mirroring the behavior, right? So projection and mirroring the behavior is very, very common when people feel high emotions. You can actually get the truth out of people and manipulate the situation to your best outcome. Like when people are really highly emotional, you can give them a little trigger so you can get the most truth out of them, because under the emotion, they don't think clearly. They see everything black and white. They have heightened reactivity, and they might come up with the truth that you've been hesitant about 3 years ago. For example, your husband went on a trip 3 years ago. It seemed like he was cheating, but you were not sure. You can easily give him the triggers to tell you the whole truth because he's not thinking clearly. You can actually use that into your advantage to get the entire truth out. And again, later he's going to regret it. So that's how you can actually manipulate the situation to your best possible outcome. You got to understand, people always mirror their behavior. Like, people rarely say something that is not a direct reflection of themselves. Then, withdrawal or avoidance. This is actually pretty intelligent. Many retreat, shut down, or isolate themselves to cope. This is actually a pretty intelligent decision. When you feel high emotion and somebody betrayed you or made you angry, and you retreat, you go into peace, and you're going to go organize your chaos, and you're not going to make any decision, that is actually the best possible outcome that you can get out of this situation, because nothing has been said that couldn't be taken back. Nothing has been done that couldn't be undone. You just simply took the information, it triggered a lot of emotional chaos, and you left, and you didn't act upon it. Some people do that, but they tend to be older, more skilled people who already gone through all kinds of situations in their life where they already reacted impulsively and they burned themselves. They've done stupid things under high emotions. They learn from it, so they retreat, organize chaos, come back to the situation 3-4 days later. Remember, when you don't do anything, you can't cause damage. When you don't say anything, you can't insult anybody. But once when you go like uncontrolled missile, you don't even have any type of target. You're just trying to explode as much as possible. You can cause a lot of harm and a lot of damage that can't be undone. That's why you have to be always in the center of your emotions. That's a basic Stoic principle. The man must be in the center of his emotions. Man cannot afford to act under the emotions. Okay? And the last one, the confirmation bias. People selectively notice information that matches their emotional state, reinforcing the intensity. In the middle of the argument, let's say you say something to your wife or husband, you say 20 different points, but they only get stuck on that one word that insulted them the most, and they just keep rolling about it. You can't stop them. They constantly just keep talking about the one single topic. This is not them thinking with a clear head. You got to understand that this is very common, that people are just going to focus with their narrow attention to that one thing that insulted them and just keep talking about it all the time, all the time. This is not going to stop. At this point, you cut the conversation and you leave, okay? You have to wait for the emotions to calm down. A real man never argues with a woman. There's no chance, okay? What a man does, hears and understands a woman, so you maintain the eye contact, you let her speak. If she crosses the boundary, immediate consequences. Immediate, okay? In all the different forms. I have plenty of videos for that. But you listen, you maintain the eye contact, and of course, if she's in a really high emotion, she can be at the state of confirmation bias, so she's going to get stuck on that one thing and repeat it over and over and over. And it seems like the conversation is not going anywhere. At that point, you take your attention away. You don't talk about it because you know that until the emotion is gone, she's not going to stop. Or he's not going to stop. It doesn't matter who you're arguing with. It doesn't only have to be a romantic relationship. It could be your friend, work, whatever. Under high emotions, people usually get stuck on that one thing that insulted them and keep repeating the same thing. So these were the 7 steps of what to watch out for when you're feeling high emotions. Play it a couple times in a row so you can memorize it, because you can actually use that into your advantage. Remember, most of the planet on this earth are just like with the intelligence level of emotional monkeys. Okay, nobody understands how the psychology works or what they're going to do. They just react upon their emotions. Your advantage is understanding the game of manipulation, understanding the game of psychological processes. When people feel intense emotions, what are they possibly going to do? And based on that, you can navigate the entire situation to your advantage, so you can actually achieve the outcome of your own desire. This is really the goal, is to understand and predict people, because people are very predictable. Like I said, 99.99% of people are just completely lost within their emotional world, and they're going to react based on everything they feel. Your goal is to understand it. Your goal is to have the perspective of a predator who can look at the society and bend the world into his own will. That's how winning is done. Thank you for today's lesson, and I'll see you in the next video.